Zach Lowe gave his projected lineup for the upcoming season, and surprisingly, maybe to some, Westbrook is not on it. His look like this: Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, LBJ, AD, and Damian Jones. Westbrook off the bench. Kyle Goon, first. In general, your thoughts on this potential lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great lineup for an imaginary world that we don't live in. I don't see us starting the season and Russell Westbrook not being in the starting lineup. And that's not just a reality of talent, and people can argue about that. But it's a reality of who Russell Westbrook is. I mean, and who he sees himself as. He sees himself as a superstar in this league. And, only 2 years ago, he was kind of that guy for the Wizards. And you can argue that that's changed, but that transition from MVP level, all NBA level guy to off the bench player is a huge leap. And almost nobody makes that in a short amount of time. Carmelo Anthony was out of the league for a whole year, basically, because he couldn't kind of bring himself to make that transition. It's a steep learning curve.
I'm with Kyle. I don't think you want to risk antagonizing Russell Westbrook on opening night by saying you're coming off the bench. If it's close to Thanksgiving or Christmas, the team's not doing what you thought you wanted to. If you're Darvin Ham, then you might say, Russ, let's talk. But until then, I really think he's going to try Pat Bev and Russ side by side. Because, Pat Bev thinks he's a starter, too, and he probably should be a starter. So I think you get some defense, some three-point shooting with Pat Bev. He's definitely put some thought into how he could play alongside Russell Westbrook. And with Russ, you just get the 125 miles an hour every night, driving and dishing, and maybe some decent dunking. The Kendrick Nunn, we still don't know what he can do. We haven't seen him play in over a year. I see what Lowe is doing by putting him in the starting lineup, kind of a jack-of-all-trades player. And the Lakers coaching staff last year really did like his defense in training camp. But for now, I think you got to keep Russ in that starting lineup.
Okay, let me throw this to you, because I was obviously going to go to Russell Westbrook next, but you kind of answered the question. However, I want to give a little bit of time to Russell Westbrook, just from a standpoint of we put all these expectations on him of changing his role and accepting this role. So I'm going to give him a chance to do so. Do you think it could be one of those things where maybe some games he is a starter and others, if it's appropriate, he comes off the bench?
I think that could happen. I don't think it's a game one situation where Darvin says he's off the bench. And I mean, listen to Darvin's words. I mean, Darvin, I think, has every intention of giving Russ that chance to show he can be a productive starter on this team. Yep. And has talked about, he's still got a lot left in the tank. People have kind of sold him down the river too early. And I think, to me, that language sort of, as you're saying, is sign of an investment. Yep. Now, certain games, certain key games, could he come off the bench? Could there be a matchup?
Because of the new role he's expected to play.
Yeah, and also, there's this element where, hey, Russ, own this bench lineup. Would you, kill these guys who are coming in off the bench against you? That could happen, but I don't think that's going to be a game one thing at all.
Just a couple weeks ago at Pat Bev's introductory press conference, Darvin Ham said, we have 3 future Hall of Famers on this team. First ballot Hall of Famers. I don't think he was talking about LeBron, AD, and Austin Reeves. Although I hope Austin proves me wrong and does indeed make a little stop in the Hall of Fame. But obviously, kind of what you were saying, Kyle, Darvin has made some really nice overtures to Russ verbally over the last few months, whether at his own introductory press conference way back when, and more recently, a couple weeks ago. I'd be shocked if he says all these nice things publicly to the media about Russ and then says, hey, congrats, you're our 6th man this year.
When you think of the Lakers backcourt, I think one of the positions that'll be up for grabs over training camp that has to be earned, if you will. You got Westbrook, Nunn, Beverly, Reeves, that 2 spot. When you think of LeBron and AD, who would you like, or who do you envision fitting best next to your 2 stars?
Yeah, that's a trick, because I don't think there's anyone of that group that particularly is heads and shoulders above the other guys, right? I think in terms of length and versatility, Austin Reeves is intriguing. I think in terms of experience and just general culture, Pat Bev is also interesting. I have questions about if you have Russ and Pat Bev, who are sort of on defense, they're similar types of players and sort of being kind of needlers and guys who prod. Is there too much overlap in a way in the positions they play? And then Kendrick Nunn, sort of a great X factor, obviously a guy who can get cooking on offense. So yeah, I don't think there's any clear answer there, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Nunn. And I'm not really disagreeing with Lowe's proposed starting lineup of Nunn in there. I just don't think it can happen for political reasons, or at least aesthetic reasons. Like you want Darvin to look like he's trying to get Russ engaged here in potentially his last year at the Lakers. But I do like Kendrick Nunn's toolbox. I think he brings a little bit of everything to the table. Not a great shooter, okay though. Not a great dimes disher, but he's okay there. Just does a little bit enough of everything. Unlike maybe a guy like Russ or Pat Bev, who kind of maybe do 2 things pretty well, as opposed to 4 or 5 things well enough, shall we say, for Kendrick Nunn.
I think we're all waiting to see what he looks like. I mean, Darvin Ham has said he's been a breath of fresh air here in these offseason workouts after last season. We shall see. This is just the offseason.
Is he going to be back? Is he going to be in the starting lineup? Is he this? Is he that? We haven't even heard from him. We've seen him, and he seems excited to come back. I mean, he was at the Darvin press conference. He was at the Pat Bev presser. But why do
I feel like if Russ heard you, he'd be like, "That's your fault."
Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. But I mean,
you don't want to talk about Russ's Fashion Week?
Yeah, we could skip that. I mean, it's just a lot of Russ. Like, I just want to hear from him. I'm ready to start the games, Allie. I just am,
Me
Kyle.
too.
Let's go.
One thing you're tired of talking about?
It's a more niche version of what Brez just said, but the trades for Russell Westbrook.
Thank you. Yeah.
Too many people have access to the ESPN trade machine. Are like, why won't the Nets trade Kevin Durant for Russell Westbrook? And maybe the Nets could throw in some picks. And maybe the Nets could throw in.
Too many people just aren't smart.
No.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Whether you have access to any trade machine, they're just not smart.
Yes, and it's just the trade proposals. I feel like I see on a quick scan of social media about Russ.
You're over it.
Keep your day job.
Keep your day job. All right.
Stop sending good trade proposals.
You guys better be nice on this one, okay?
Sure.
The Cleveland Browns revealed.
We don't have one. We don't need
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've won 6 Super Bowls. You haven't won anything since the 40s.
Yeah, we won something in 2016. Kyle Goon.
Like a division? Congrats.
Yeah,
No,
I think.
NBA championship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought he was going to weigh on the bunny. Anyways,
actually, my answer is not the Cleveland Browns mascot, but I'm not a big fan of it. King Cake Baby. In New Orleans.
Scary.
I remember being there, and it's like an intermission or whatever, and this thing starts running around. I'm like, what is that?
The scariest thing ever.
I mean, that's supposed to be a baby. Babies are like lovable and huggable. That thing looks like it's had too many nights on Bourbon Street.
The
I have
Pelicans
no idea
not
what's
much
going
better
on there.
either. That's kind of scary too.
Yeah. The Pelicans needed to redo that thing. I think they did too.
Yeah. Brez and I are united on this issue, and they're showing it on the screen, and I actually want to close my eyes.
You're having
because
nightmares?
This is nightmare fuel. King Cake Baby is the worst mascot I've ever seen. When I've gone to New Orleans and seen it close up, it's just. I'm actually averting my eyes from the screen, the highlights that they're playing on the screen right now.
I will literally dress up as King Cake Baby and stand outside your window.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Halloween just around the corner. Oh, how about this? Speaking of mascots.
Well, you could have at least thrown a smile in there. I mean, I love it. Gosh.
Allie the mean
Andrew
elf.
Miller, be better.
Is that an elf
Moving
or a
on.
gnome? What is that thing?
Number 4, Patrick Beverley throwing himself a party is.
So Pat Bev. I mean, I just met the guy 2 weeks ago for the first time ever. Love him. A little disappointed I wasn't there, but why not? He's with the Lakers. He's wanted to be here, and here he is. And there we are not, Kyle. We are nowhere
There
near.
we are not. Well,
any of these
Well,
posts.
I mean, who can say?
Right.
Kyle?
Who could say? Yeah, I think we're in a lot of agreement today, Brez. I said on brand for Patrick Beverley. He is very much himself. He's like, hey, you know what? I've been a Lakers villain for so many years, and now I'm Lakers. Oh, party time!
Party time.
He's as soon as he's on that trade, he's
ready
in.
to go.
You know who has been partying for the last 5 weeks? It's the final question, and it's got to be quick. But your favorite thing about BT's vacation is?
All of it. I mean, I wish I was out there. I don't think he's ever coming back, and that could be my favorite thing about this too. We never see BT again.
Kyle?
Yes. It's BT sent me a text, and he tweeted this too, of him riding a camel in Morocco with the caption, "Here I are, goon."
He tweeted at you.